Hey everyone, welcome back to the Winner's Circle. I'm Cody, and we are joined here today by the most recent evicted house guest of Big Brother Season 25, Mecole. Mecole, how you doing? How you feeling? How's everything going this morning?
I am feeling as good as an evicted house guest can feel.
Right.
I wish I was still in the house, but on the bright side, I get to see my husband after 65 days. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's wild. It's you almost like blink sometimes, but you don't realize how long it's been for the people on the outside too. I bet that was amazing to get to connect with your husband as soon as hopefully it was last night, right when you got out of there. So
Yeah.
alrighty. So let's dive right into the game because I want to set this up with we didn't see a ton from the live show at least, unless there's people that watch the feeds. They weren't showing a ton of your game, but they were showing incredible sound bites in the diary room to let us know, okay, Mecole knows exactly what's happening. And I constantly was saying, man, I want to see Mecole like gain power. I want to like see what she would do because she really does have a grasp of the game, but we're not seeing a ton of the gameplay. So I want to give you a chance to kind of let us know, maybe some people that are only watching the live show, like what was your day to day like? Who were the people that you trusted the most? Who were you really wanting to work with and kind of navigate your own game?
Yeah. So the people that I trusted the most very early in the season were, of course, the brown sugar babes, and then adjacent to that, Izzy.
Yeah.
Outside and Tyson. Outside of that,
Okay.
I didn't really trust many people in the house, and I think that it was because early on I just didn't have the opportunity to build the type of connections and relationships with them as I would have liked to. I did start talking to Corey very early on, but I knew that Corey was talking to everyone in the
Okay.
house and trying to, create various pathways for himself. So I knew that at some point he would nestle himself in perfectly with a group that would try to use him to their advantage as the strategist and mastermind. And I just had no time to get my hands dirty with that. So, unfortunately for me, I stuck too true to the brown sugar babes.
Hmm.
I thought that we all had each other's back and that we were in it for the long haul. But during the Izzy and Felicia week is when I really learned that that was not true. And by that time, you have the trio of Jack, Boo, and Matt. You have the duo of Corey and America. You also have the duo of Bowie Jane and Cameron. And Mama Fee and Sari also seemed like a duo to me after I learned that they've been masterminding all of these alliances that they didn't even tell me about, which
Right.
was insane. And so at that point, I knew that the only person that I could really trust was myself. So that's kind of how I ended up where I am.
Okay. So I want to kind of take a deeper dive into that because, again, you just hit on a ton of duos. From us on the outside, we're watching, and I felt that way. I was like, every duo in the house seems to be attached at the hip, like at all times of the day. Like, and I play the game. So I was like, when I had my duo, I didn't want to be in the same room with them constantly, seen sitting next to them constantly. Was that something that you were seeing in the house where it was like very easy to pick apart? Okay, these people are working together. This group is working together because you were hitting the nail on the head. And I was like, why isn't she more involved in this? Like in the storyline of the show, I was like, Mecole is like nailing it. But then we were seeing like the Serene, Izzy, Felicia kind of being like the ones masterminding, moving around the house. So I'm like, why is Mecole not kind of putting herself, involving herself more to like try to, I guess, like knock people out of the game?
Yeah, for me, having worked in politics and being trusted with some very important decisions and trusted with managing some very important people, the one thing that I knew that I did not want to do in this game was be seen as a strategist and a mastermind, because that's
Totally.
literally what I do in my line of work
Totally.
every single. And I know that it can seem like a very popular position, but it can also bring a lot of envy. And, especially in a game like Big Brother that is so fragile and people are looking for any reason or any justification to target you. I knew that the Sari and the Felicias and the Izzies and the Corys and the Jags of the world were the ones who were seen as the bigger personalities and the bigger threats. And I really did feel like they would just start to take each other out, which is what we saw with the Mama Fee move to
Yep.
get out Heisem, the move to get out Red, the idea to get out Riley,
Right.
even the move to get out Izzy. And, I knew as a super fan of this show, when you come in wanting to play too hard, too fast, too loudly, that you make yourself a threat. So I said, let the egomaniacs go crazy and I'll just sit here and chill. But there was not one day that I was in that house that I, to your point, did not have a grasp of what
Yeah.
was going on, or that I felt that I was out of the loop. I
Yeah.
may not acted on it as strongly,
Yes.
and I
Okay.
never got in a position of power to really do anything about it, unfortunately. But I knew what was happening at all times.
Yeah, no, I can appreciate that. And I appreciate you elaborating on it because that's exactly how I felt. And I would say that because Derek and I cover this show. We watch the live show. And I would sit there being like, Mecole understands what she needs to do in this game. It probably has a lot to do with her background because in politics, sometimes being the loudest doesn't help you get your point across. And when there's people bashing, it's like almost taking a step back and being the level-headed one where you always spoke very like calmly, even when you were leaving the house. I was like, what she just did there was super detrimental to someone like Corey in America because she wasn't angry. She was very calm. She was very methodical in her words and what she said and why she said it. And it was really just to be like, don't let them run through the game. I see it. Don't allow it to happen. And that kind of stuff resonates because then it can't just be, oh, well, Mecole kind of freaked out. And it's like, oh, she was just mad because she got blindsided. It was like, no. Mecole was level-headed, calm, and made sure she told everybody, don't allow them to go. So I wanted to ask you about that because was it that you felt very betrayed by Corey in America, or you were just like, you know what, I'm going out of the house. I feel like they could win, so now I'm just going to try to put some shade on them. Like, what was that? What backed that?
I think it was a little bit of both. To be honest with you, I was 100% certain that Corey and America were the ones who initiated the vote flip. You know, America was always running around saying, I don't talk game with Mimi. She doesn't trust anybody. She plays her cards so close to her chest. And that annoyed the hell out of me because America is a leaky faucet. Anytime you say something to her, it gets spilled everywhere. So I'm like, girl, you want me to give you ammunition to use against me? Do you think that I'm stupid? Of course I don't talk game to you. I don't know why anybody is talking game to you. And, you know, Corey is someone who, especially after the big Jared blow up, someone who I seen to be untrustworthy. Jared was supposed to be his number one, and he stood in a room full of people telling him all the things that Jared had said and had done. And from my purview, for no reason at all than for Corey wanting to flip the vote. So I thought this was another case of that. And while I'm not exempt from, you know, being a part of vote flips that have happened in the past, it's unfortunate that it had happened to me. And so my idea at that time was, let me just throw a little shade, tell a bit of a white lie. I did have a conversation with America a few days prior when we were just talking about what the pathway forward would look like, in which she was saying, you know, outside of myself and Corey, who do you feel like you trust in the house? And I was like, well, I don't really feel like I trust anybody, right? And she was like, well, you know, Corey really trusts Bowie Jane. Bowie Jane looks to him as sort of an advisor. Bowie Jane is really smart, and I think you should try to get to know Bowie Jane. So while she didn't necessarily pitch an alliance to me that I denied, as I had alluded to before I left the house, she did, you know, just kind of sprinkle here and there that they may have some sort of a working relationship. And I thought that the other side, which is Jag, Boo, and Matt, should know that. And I hope they fight to the death.
Okay. All right. So one last question. It's kind of a twist because right now I wouldn't actually be sitting here communicating with you because you should be a jury member. Unfortunately, this season, Big Brother likes to do this. They throw a twist. You are not in the jury, which is very unfortunate because I would have loved to have seen kind of where your head worked in that aspect of who you would have voted for. But now that I have you here, if it was like previous seasons and you did make it to the jury house, who is somebody you see right now that you would have left the game, went into the jury house and been like, wow, they're really killing the game. And if they are in the final two, that's who I'm voting for. Is there somebody that you can pinpoint to that you would have voted for to be a winner?
If I had to say somebody or somebodies, I definitely would say Matt and Sari. I think that Matt is a fabulous game. He is a super strong competitor. Obviously, he is an Olympian and someone who knows exactly what he's doing in this game, although people may not necessarily feel that way. But I see through the aloofness that he tries to appear to have in this game. He hasn't won so much that it's put a target on his back, but he's won enough to where people know that he can win. And he's also just very, very well liked. I don't think that I've heard a bad word said about Matt in this house. Everyone does truly like and enjoy being around him. So I can see him sitting in those final two chairs. And I also think and know that Sari is a fantastic player, right? She masterminded the first half of this game, kind of had her game blown up when Corey Jared had the big fight in the Humillaverse. And since then has laid very low. She was supposed to be on the block next to Jared the week that he went out before the double eviction, or the week that he went out in the double eviction. And now people are starting to gravitate back toward her, look to her as someone that they would like to work with moving forward. I don't know how strongly they feel about her ability to win comps, but I do think that they believe that she is someone that they can kind of carry through this game without making too many waves or offending anybody. So I can definitely see her sitting in that final two chair as well.
Oh yeah, I say that. I mean, that would be the biggest mistake that anybody made, is allowing Sari to get to the final two. Like, you think that she's not going to destroy her speech and her questions? I'm like, guys, this is Sari. She's masterful at this game. She knows what she has to do. So I love that answer, but unfortunately, we are out of time. Anybody that wants to continue following you, continue to see what you're into, maybe if they want to hear about some of the political stuff that you're talking about, where can people find you on socials? If you have a YouTube channel, let everybody know where the best way to find you is.
Of course, you can find me on Instagram at Mimi_Hayes. I'm also on Twitter at Mimi_Hayes with 2 S's. And yeah,
awesome.
Can't wait to talk with all of you guys.
Love that. Well, you're officially part of the Big Brother family. We love having you. We're a small group of people, but we got to experience something that I think a lot of people would love to. So it's a blessing and a curse, because that show does a lot. So we appreciate you joining us here on the Winner Circle, everybody, and we will see you next week.